Well, hello and welcome to Knife Delights. It's time for another Two for Tuesday. Yep, Two for Tuesday's that easy open tag that I encourage all channels to participate in. Hey, grab a couple of knives and talk about it. It's easy. Well, here on the table today, we've got a couple of peanuts. And this one here is a case out of the Ichthys series. And it's got synthetic covers here. What did they call this? They called it the Ice Blue Synthetic. Yeah. So we've got the case, and then here's a brand that is new to me. And this is a Steel Warrior. It's basically a knife from the Frost line. And I didn't have any Steel Warriors. And, I've got to try to get one from every brand I can. Just so I have, things to compare with. So that's just part of collecting. What's interesting about this one is I don't have the box for this, and I don't know what the model number is. It looks like it's a purple bone, smooth bone. And you can see the shield there. But what's interesting is this one is carbon steel. And as I'm looking at Steel Warrior peanuts, they all seem to have stainless steel. And I was under the impression that Steel Warrior were probably made in Pakistan, but they're not. They're made in China, or this one is anyway. And got a little tag there. You can see the little dimple right there. It says it's tested 56 to 58 on the Rockwell. So I just thought we'd do a little bit of comparing between a case knife and a Steel Warrior. However, it's not exactly a fair fight here because this is bone and this is synthetic. But we're going to look at the construction and kind of go over it a little better. However, I'm going to set the case aside for just a minute and we'll focus on this because as you can see, it's kind of dirty. Now, I got this off of an auction. Didn't pay much for it. I'm presuming it's new out of the box. I don't know. I am presuming since it still has a sticker on there that the knife has been unused. And if that's the case, well, we need to look at blade grinds and things like that. But it looks like it's just been sitting around for quite a while, so it needs to get cleaned up. So let's just clean it up a bit. Well, as you know, I usually start out with like rubbing compound and that on my old knives, but this one's presumably new. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to go straight to the case paste with this one and just touch up these bolsters and back springs. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the knife, but we'll just kind of quick polish it here. So I'm curious to know if any of my viewers out there, if you've bought these Steel Warriors before, what did you think of their quality? Always curious to know. People must buy them or they wouldn't make them, right? Okay, that's just a quick pass on the bolsters there. They shined right up. Just going to touch the back springs quick. Being careful not to hit the bone. I'll hit these two bolsters real quick. Then I think I'm going to throw it in the mineral oil and let it soak. I'm not going to touch the blades. Okay. Oops. Got a spot right there. I'm not sure what that is. I don't know if that'll come off or not. But anyway, just a quick pass with a little case paste here. And just doing that really improves the appearance, doesn't it? So yeah, let's let it soak for a while. Okay, so I gave this a brief soaking, got it all dried off. I did hit the bolsters once again with the case paste, so they've cleaned up pretty well. So again, let's check out the difference in the shields. So there's the Steel Warrior shield. And of course, this is the ictus, or the Greek word, which is a Greek word for fish, or the Christian symbol. And so that's what the ictus symbol looks like. We'll check out our main blades here. You can see the case has a half stop with that clip point blade there. No half stop on this one. And you can see you got more of a match strike pull on it. And you can see the difference between the stainless steel and the carbon steel. Got a little bit different blade shape on there too, don't we? Alright, we'll check out our secondary blade here. The pen blade. Again, got the match strike pull. Whoops. Oh hell, there we go. Half stop. Okay. And that's what the pen blade looks like. Pretty similar. Now again, let's look at those. Assuming that this is a brand new knife and hasn't been sharpened. Look at the difference in the blade grind. Big difference. It's a lot more even here on the case knife. So, fingerprint magnets, aren't they? Big difference. What about overall size? Or the pattern? If you set one on top of the other, there's the case peanut, Steel Warrior on top. They look exactly the same. As far as width, it's hard to tell because this has bone, so it's a little wider there. That has synthetic, but basically it looks like the same width. So it looks like about the same size. I don't have my scale out, but it seems like they weigh just about the same. Now, when we look at the covers, it's an unfair comparison because this is synthetic and this is bone. So we'll take a closer look at that bone on here. Of course, you got the brass pins. And it seems to me when I gave it the fine eye here, there was just a little bit of a mismatch down there. But hey, you know, you're working with a natural material. That's very minor, very minor. But the bone is very good on this one. Nice transitions. You do feel that shield. It does stick up just a little bit, but you can feel it on there too. So on the case, you got the synthetic and the 3 brass pins. And of course, very nice transitions on the case. We'll look at the back springs here. Wipe that off one more time. You can see it does have the brass liners. I really don't see any significant gapping. Actually, no gapping at all. And when we look at the case, don't see any gapping there either. Alright, when we look down into the well of these knives, that's what it looks like with the case. Let me see if I can get a flashlight here real quick. See if that helps out just a little bit. So it looks like on the case and on the steel wire. Looks pretty clean down in there. Now when I soaked this and then dried it off, I did not get a lot of dirty oil out of it, which tells me there wasn't a lot of gunk down in there. Sometimes with a new knife, you get the excess polish and or oh, look at that on top of the blade there. Sometimes you get junk filled down in there. You got to clean those pivots out. Now you can see the difference now with it being carbon steel. It looks like rust is starting to set in, and I don't know how old this knife is. This one is from, oh, when was this? 2019. Of course, it's stainless steel, so it's less prone to rust. And I don't know what year this is. I can't find anything out about this purple bone cover steel wire. So that is something I'm going to have to take care of, isn't it? You don't want rust to start setting in. So price-wise, I don't remember what I paid for this one. Again, it's been several years ago. I want to say it was probably roughly $60, somewhere in there. And I got this on auction, and I believe I paid less than $10. I'm pretty sure I paid less than $10 for it. The steel wire is a very much budget brand. So look at the difference in price. Can you justify purchasing this one with a high price over this budget one? Well, it all depends on what your use is. If you want to support USA made, why, obviously you want to go with the case. If you're just looking for a fifth pocket knife or just a little pocket dropper to use for hard tasks, and you don't want to ruin your good knife, why, perhaps a steel wire or a frost or something like that would be the way to go. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of a comparison on this 2 for Tuesday. Now everyone go out and have yourselves a very delightful day.